Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a source document that, well, you wouldn't normally expect to make headlines. It's usually pretty dry stuff.
We're talking about the French State Auditor's report on the Louvre Museum, but it's been thrown into really sharp focus because of this huge event.
Huge is right. The auditor himself, Pierre Moscovici, called it a deafening wake-up call. He was talking, of course, about that spectacular heist last month.
Yeah, the theft of crown jewels. We're talking estimates of around 88 million. That's what, about $95 million US? Just staggering.
Absolutely staggering. And so our mission today is to unpack this audit report. It covered the Louvre's management from 2018 up to this year, 2024.
And crucially, it was finished before the heist happened.
Exactly. So it basically predicted forensically the kind of systemic failures in management and security that, well, that allowed this catastrophe to happen. It's really a story about appearances over substance.
Vanity over the vital, you could say. And to really get why the audit matters, you need to picture the crime itself. I mean, the sheer nerve of it.
It wasn't some quiet middle of the night thing, was it?
No, not at all. The sources say it happened on the morning of October 19th. Broad daylight. A smash and grab.
And it lasted less than 7 minutes, start to finish. Just think about that. 7 minutes to walk into the Louvre, grab millions in jewels, and walk out.
In the most visited museum in the world.
The details show the gang. There were 4 of them. They knew exactly what they were doing. They had weaknesses pinpointed.
Right. They used a stolen truck, apparently, an extendable ladder.
Yeah.
And the key bit seems to be getting access to a freight lift.
Which took them right up to a first-floor window of the Apollo Gallery.
Yeah, the Apollo Gallery. I mean, that's one of the most prestigious rooms designed to showcase French history, royal power.
And wealth. So 2 guys smash a window, break into display cases, unsecured window, apparently, and grab 8 items.
Including some really significant pieces. There was a diadem, belonged to Napoleon III's wife, nearly 2,000 diamonds on that one, and an emerald and diamond necklace Napoleon I gave to his second wife, Marie-Louise. Irreplaceable history, and none of it recovered, by the way.
Still missing. And they used the lift again to get away, met accomplices, and just vanished.
The speed, the efficiency, it screams lack of immediate, effective security. But the audit, this report we're looking at, it makes it clear this wasn't just about, guards not being quick enough.
No, it goes much deeper. It's organizational. It's about priorities. Which brings us right to the core finding of this state audit.
Pierre Moscovici, the head auditor, he really laid it out there when he presented the report. He talked about this fundamental choice the institution made.
What was that choice?
Essentially, image versus foundation. The report flat out says the Louvre consistently chose visible and attractive projects. Think like splashy new exhibitions or wings.
Right, things that look good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Over the less glamorous but critical investments in maintenance and security. Things the auditor called, and this is the key phrase, indispensable for the long-term functioning of the institution.
Indispensable. That word says it all. And it wasn't about a lack of money, was it? The audit seems clear on that.
No, that's a crucial point. The report found they had sufficient funds allocated or available for security upgrades. They just didn't spend it there.
So it was a conscious decision, a management choice. Spending on the shiny stuff, the glamour spending, while letting the basics, the essential protection, slide.
Yeah, and the report connects this directly. It says decision-making happened at the expense of the maintenance and renovation of buildings and technical facilities, particularly those related to safety and security.
It's like adding a fancy new extension onto your house while, the actual foundation is crumbling.
That's a good way to put it. And if that's the diagnosis, bad priorities, then this specifics in the report are like the damning evidence. The details really show the scale of the neglect.
And when you see those details, that 7-minute heist starts to seem less surprising, almost predictable.
Well, look at the CCTV situation. The report calls the pace of upgrades wholly inadequate. And the number is just, well, it's shocking.
Okay, what was it?
As of this year, 2024, only 39% of the museum's rooms had modern CCTV cameras installed. 39%.
In the Louvre.
Yeah.
With 8.7 million visitors last year. That feels incredibly low.
It is. And then there's the timeline to fix it. The plan to get cameras into the other 61% of rooms.
Yeah. When's that supposed to happen?
It's not expected to be finished until 2032.
2032, so another 8 years.
Another 8 years. Let that sink in. They know there's a huge gap. They have the money, supposedly, and the plan still leaves massive parts of the world's most famous museum under-monitored for almost a decade.
An 8-year plan versus a 7-minute reality? That That really highlights the disconnect, the lack of urgency.
Exactly. And it's not like this was new information for them either. This wasn't a sudden
What
realization.
do you mean?
The auditor's report specifically points out that a big security audit was done a decade ago, 10 years back.
Okay, and what did that decade-old audit find?
It found the museum was, and I'm quoting loosely here, not sufficiently monitored or prepared for a crisis. Pretty clear warning.
10 years ago. So what happened after that warning? Surely they jumped on it.
Well, that warning apparently only led to them putting out a tender, like a request for bids for security work, last year.
Wait, it took them 9 years just to start the process of asking for bids based on a decade-old warning?
Seems so.
Yeah.
And even the upgrades recommended back then, 10 years ago, were estimated to take another 8 years to actually implement fully.
So best case scenario, it's an 18-year response time to a critical security warning.
That's what the timeline suggests. It's not just slow. The report implies it's like a chronic, almost deliberate pattern of kicking the can down the road, ignoring very clear expert advice.
And this focus on, well, not focusing on security, it had other consequences for where the money did go, right?
Yeah.
The audit looked into that too.
Absolutely. It wasn't just about not spending on cameras. It was about what they were spending on instead. And that created its own set of problems competing for the same resources.
It's like what, for example?
Well, one area the audit highlighted was spending on artworks,
Mm-hmm.
acquisitions, buying new pieces for the collection.
Which sounds like what a museum should do.
Sure, but the audit found they were spending excessively, perhaps, and here's the kicker. Only a quarter, just 25%, of all the artworks they acquired were actually put on public display.
Hold on, so 3/4 of the money spent on buying new art resulted in that art going straight into storage, not seen by the public.
That's what the report indicates. Millions spent on things that immediately disappear from view.
While the window of the Apollo Gallery remained unsecured, that seems upside down.
It's that opportunity cost again, isn't it? Choosing to build up this unseen reserve collection, maybe it looks good on paper, a kind of institutional vanity, while neglecting the absolute core job, protecting what's already there, what the public can see.
It paints a picture of, I don't know, inefficiency, like the priorities are fundamentally misaligned with the mission.
Yeah, the report mentioned other things too, wider management inefficiencies, ongoing problems with ticket fraud. It suggests the issues weren't just isolated to security budgets. It was more like systemic,
Like the whole system was underperforming and security was just one symptom.
possibly.
Hmm.
And reinforcing all this, there was actually a separate administrative inquiry launched after the theft, independent of the audit.
Okay, and what did that separate investigation find? Did it contradict the audit?
Not at all. It reached basically the exact same conclusions. It highlighted, and these are powerful words, a chronic structural underestimation of the risk of intrusion and theft,
Chronic and structural. Wow.
and an inadequate level of security measures. So 2 separate official investigations, one before the heist, one after, both pointing to the same deep-rooted failures. This wasn't bad luck. The report suggests it was predictable.
So the audit didn't just diagnose the problem. Did it offer solutions? A way forward?
Yes, it did. It wasn't just criticism. The report laid out 10 specific recommendations for the Louvre's management.
Yeah.
Things they should do, right away.
Like what kind of things?
Well, aimed at fixing that priority problem we talked about. For instance, they specifically recommended reducing the number of new art acquisitions.
Ah, tackling the glamour spending directly.
Exactly. And also, interestingly, raising ticket prices. The idea there, presumably, is to generate more operating income that could be explicitly earmarked for maintenance and security, not just relying on general state funds.
Makes sense. How did the Louvre respond to these recommendations?
Officially, their management said they accepted most of the recommendations.
Most, not all.
That little word most does stand out, doesn't it? It might suggest there's still some resistance, perhaps, to fully embracing the kind of fundamental shift the auditors were calling for.
Old habits die hard, maybe, especially when it comes to those big, visible projects.
Well, and speaking of visible projects, it's worth noting the Louvre is still pushing ahead with other major plans. They launched a big development project earlier this year.
Oh, yeah. What does that involve?
A brand new, dedicated space for the Mona Lisa is part of it, which is obviously very high profile.
The ultimate visible and attractive project, you could argue.
Right. Now, the plan does apparently include new security measures as well. But the real test will be the sequencing, the actual priority given. Will they fast-track the essential security upgrades alongside or even before the headline-grabbing new gallery? Or will security log behind again?
That will really show if the lesson's been learned, won't it? Which brings us, I suppose, to the takeaway for you listening to this.
Yeah, because the Louvre isn't just any institution. It's the world's most visited museum. It's state-funded. It had access to these audits, these clear warnings, years in advance.
And yet it still suffered this colossal failure. Billions in cultural heritage, millions in financial value, put at risk because fundamentally they found it harder to do the unglamorous work installing cameras, securing windows, than to launch the next big thing.
Prioritizing the visible over the vital. And that raises a really uncomfortable question that goes way beyond museums or Paris. The report called it a chronic structural underestimation of the risk. If that can happen at the Louvre, with all its resources and scrutiny, where else is it happening?
You mean we should ask ourselves what other systems, what other institutions in our own lives might be making that same trade-off, neglecting the boring foundational maintenance, whether it's physical infrastructure, cybersecurity, organizational processes.
Exactly. For the sake of the new, the shiny, the attractive. Think about the organizations you depend on. Your workplace, government services, the technology you use. Where's the hidden vulnerability? Where's that essential maintenance being delayed? Maybe for 8 years, maybe longer.
Because the lesson from the Louvre seems pretty stark. The cost of ignoring that indispensable, non-glamorous stuff.
It always comes due eventually, and as we saw here, the price can be absolutely staggering.